Hello. So this is a video on how to graph a parabola for a word problem on the graphing calculator. So I'm going to walk you through problem 4 live in a different way just from using the graphing calculator. So here's Graphing Calc. Here's the app that I told you about. You can also do this on a regular graphing calculator or on a graphing calculator that was downloaded from the download from our page. So let's go to y equals first. That's this button. And say negative 16x squared plus 256x minus 624. Which is the same problem we did in the other video. Now, when we want to sketch a graph, we have to go to table, not the graph. The table is what's going to give us the data points. Now, these points are obviously bad. They're not going in the right direction. So we have two choices. We can scroll until we start getting repeats, which might take all day. Or we can go to table set, which is above it. So I'm going to press second table, and I can see my table is starting at 14. I like it to start at 0, and this is delta table. This little triangle is a delta. That's how our table goes, and right now it's going by 1. So we start off with that and see what happens. Going back to the table. Oh, it didn't work. Let's try that again. Table set, 0. Okay. Let's go to the table. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's not good either because the points are going down. So I'm going to scroll until the points start changing direction. Here we go. So I'm going down, and now from 144 to 256, see, it's starting to go up again. Okay, so up, and now I'm starting to see repeats. So that 384 is a repeat. That's the zone you want to go in. Now, if you don't want to fly blind, remember to start with your axis of symmetry. We saw that in the other video, our axis of symmetry was at 8, and so 8, 400 is our vertex, and that's why all the points are centered around there. Okay, so we decide if going by 1s is fine. I have a lot of data points here, so going by 1s is fine. So all I would need to do is to plot these points. Okay, and we already showed you that in the other video, so we don't have to do it again. Now, if you want to see the graph on the display, you're going to go to graph. So let's check that out. Now, what you have on the table is nothing to do with what you're seeing here. You could see nice data points, but they might not show up. So I'm looking at my display, and I see that I have a lot of decimals on x, and my y is going up to 50. So I'm not able to see the top, and it doesn't really look like a U shape. So your graph should always look like a U shape if it's quadratic. So what do we do? That means we're not seeing the right window. So we have to fix our window. So we're going to go to window. Remember, on a regular calculator, you don't have to press second, but this one you do. All right, so your window. What is it that you're trying to see? Well, you're trying to see on x, right? You're trying to see, let's see if we can sketch this a little bit. Let's go to a blank page. Let's see. Okay, so what are we trying to see? Well, you're trying to see a curve that looks like this. Your x-min and your x-max, whatever you choose, should be able to see an up and a down. You should be able to see the full curve in between there. Right now what we have is this, which means the x-max is somewhere out here. So we just have to give it a bigger number. Okay, so let's go back to the calculator and see what we can do about that. Okay, so on my graph, my x is not going down because it's only at about 3.8. So how do I know where it goes down? Well, I look at the table. I don't know why it keeps doing that. And if you remember from the last problem, my 0 where it hit the ground was at x equals 13, so I need to go to at least that. Okay, so now back to window, and x max has got to be at least 13. If we know it's 13, we can make it though, or maybe we can guess about 15. My x scale is what the x is going by. All those decimals were because it was going by 0.5, so we can go by ones. It's okay. Now the y. Okay, now the y, you're talking about this. You're talking about how low does it go, y min, and how high does it go, y max. So your y max should be set at least as high as your maximum. It can go a little higher, but if you set it down here, you're only going to get a cutoff, which is what we were seeing. So we need to increase our maximum. Okay, so my y max is 50. How high did my graph go? Well, if you don't remember, you look at the table, not second, just the table. And went up, 336, 384, 400, back down to 384. 400 was my max. No wonder I wasn't seeing the top. I gotta set it to somewhere at least 400. So this number is 400. And I go back to window, and I'm gonna set that to 400, and I will see that. Now to go from 0 to 400, do I wanna count by 5s? I don't know if that would be enough, maybe by 10s. That's probably less important. But what is important is your x min, your x max. How wide do you want to see the graph? Y min and y max. How tall do you want to see the graph? Now watch this. Beautiful. Because I know my fireworks go from 3 to 13, which is what I can clearly see horizontally. And my rise, how high it goes, is from 0 to 400, so I can see that clearly on the graph too. Okay, and that's how you set your table, and that's how you set your window.